We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
Good morning, everyone. Always such a delight to be able to be here with you. I am absolutely thrilled to be joining you this morning. Big waves to all who are in the room, and to apparently no one listening on the radio, which is kind of fun. Radio is traveling today. So for those of you who listen to the radio normally and just chose to come into the room, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Shauna. Good morning. Good morning. So we begin by sharing our statement of purpose. Awakening Together statements of purpose. We are an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. The word symbols is particularly alive for me today, and it seems that the core value that supports what it is that has come through is alive to be with today is core value number 5. And core value number 5 is we accept all forms as temporary appearances, permitted through enduring awareness of self. We live this value by honoring all appearances and all experiences while continually reflecting on changeless truth. So here we are. While normally we play our opening song first, I just feel called to take a moment and actually say a prayer first. So if you feel called to join me, I invite you to just settle into this moment, bringing our full attention to what is here right now. What is here right now is not being rejected. What is here right now is being welcomed, invited. This is our natural state. I invite us all to hear what there is for each of us to hear, to allow our own inner wisdom to show us what we most need to see in this moment, what we most need to see as we spend this time together. And to be with all of it, knowing that truly it is never rejected. It is only a mind that says rejection is possible. We welcome it all with grace and love. We settle into the heart of our spiritual self. And we rest in its embrace. And so it is. Amen. All right. So the song that we are about to listen to is called "The End of the World as We Know It." It is by REM. For those of you who are teenagers of the 80s, it probably rings in your mind. And it is just really interesting to me because I watched for the last 3 or 4 days as mind kept arguing, why on God's green earth are you playing a song called "The End of the World" as your opening song? That shouldn't even go first. You should call Sina, you should call Shauna, say, wait, move it to the next. I mean, I just watched this mind argue. Came to Lectio Divina this morning with Susan Telford, and she reads this line in this poem by Adyashanti, and it says, hold on, I'm going to just swing to it without covering my microphone. It says, so the poem is about giving up basically any of the desire for knowledge versus actually being in purification. At least that's the way it read to me. And the very last line of it says, before I burn the damn place down. And then I heard the song. It's the end of the world as we know it. So that is our opening song, a symbol for letting it all go and burn the damn place down. So thank you, Shauna, for playing our opening song. Boy, I can just feel the chaos of that music. Holy mackerel, that is something else. The end of the world as we know it. Such a powerful, powerful symbol. And I feel deeply the invitation to just absolutely release anything that I think I know as being truth. As I listen to the lyrics, I hear the chaos of the mind just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. And then the refrain reminding. This is not what I choose anymore. I choose to surrender that. Speaking of symbols, we have a beautiful reading this morning, which will be shared with us from Mary Reed's book, Humanity's Epic Awakening. Mary Reed actually read this during the satsang last Sunday. And if you don't know Mary Reed, she's a mystic, and she has all sorts of visions and experiences that help her in terms of guiding her next steps and what next steps might be. And like all helpful symbols in the world, this has some very helpful symbolism for this one. So I invite you, as you're listening to Inka read, to listen for that which is most helpful to you in your own journey. The excerpt that we're going to be reading from is in a section called How We Got Here. And the name of the chapter is actually The Work of the Universe. And before, Inka's not actually reading the whole chapter, so I just want to give you just a little bit of context. At this point, Mary was experiencing a block and was feeling some sense of frustration around that block. And she described it as being akin to a writer's block. And when she described it, she felt called to meditate on it when she realized that there was this block internally happening. And for her, it wasn't a writer's block, but it was a block for how to move next with her work, with her own spiritual journey, with her own work. And so Inka's going to read to us the guidance that Mary received as she meditated on this particular block. Inka, thank you for agreeing to read to us today. It's all yours.
It occurred to me one day that perhaps the block itself is my work. So I began to meditate on it, feel into it on my morning hikes, contemplate its presence relentlessly, and today, in a deeply meditative state, this light has shown up to help. When the giddiness of our mutual delight settles down enough to get to work, I ask the light, Can you help me with this sense of feeling blocked? The light drifts forward and extends a portion of itself into my stomach. It's here, it says, unquestionably. I feel pain in my stomach and can see within me there's a block that looks like a bowling ball. Heavy, dense, round. Instantly, I understand with absolute certainty that this is a fundamental block in humanity, not just in me. Quickly, everything in my consciousness expands massively, and I become aware of all that is within and around the block, including countless layers of nuances in the very concept of block itself. The enormity of all that is present at once is overwhelming, and I cannot process or filter or interpret such scale. My mind hurries to try to narrate what is happening, but words are wildly inadequate to capture the depth of meaning of all that is here. Unable to process the scale of the block using words, an image opens up before me. A gloriously vast cosmos in which, in galaxy after galaxy, love flows effortlessly in all directions, except in one spot. Suspended deep in this cosmos is a single round block through which no love is entering or exiting. The block is minuscule relative to its surroundings, but its importance is palpable. The entire cosmos is aware of this block, but nothing here can penetrate its boundaries because this single block in all the cosmos, the same block I carry within me, belongs solely to humanity. Whoa, I whisper in amazement. I want to ask the light to help me understand what is happening. But the moment I turn my attention to the light, I lose awareness of the block. And when I return my attention to the block, I lose awareness of the light. I'm unable to focus on the light and the block at the same time. And right now, the block is seeking to be known. I smile to the light and say, "Thank you for getting me here," and it fades away. I return my attention to the block and ask, "What is your nature?" Forcefully, the word separation rushes up within me. As I'm taking this in, more follows. Oh, but I'm more than that. I'm also the cry for union. With that, an accelerated overview of humanity's evolution begins, starting with the creation of separation consciousness, our belief that we are separate from Source. I see the first moment we perceived a specific reflection of ourselves that made us turn away from rather than cherish what we perceived. That reflection was fear. In that critical moment of self-rejection, we turned our awareness away from our own divine nature as pure love and recoiled in fear, straight into a fear-based separation consciousness. A great swell of sorrow fills me as I watch our evolution. I see humanity in its illusory world of fear, everyone blinded by their belief that they're all alone while constantly crying out in desperate longing for union with God, without knowing that all the while they are already of God. It's like watching fish swim around sorrowfully yearning to know water. I can see clearly that the fundamental block for humanity is our belief that we're separate from the source of our existence and our relentless cry for union with the source of our existence. We are expressions of divine love, believing we are separate from divine love and deeply yearning to feel love. When the overview of our evolution stops, everything goes quiet. I wait to see if something else is going to happen, but nothing does. Finally, I ask, okay, so how can we get rid of this block? A powerful force appears and radiates from within and around the block, both protecting and strengthening it. My question gave the block enormous power. I realize now that the idea of rejection is the source of the block. The moment this critical understanding occurs, everything goes quiet again. But the realization reverberates through me like an echo traveling on and on and on. I wait for the reverberations to stop, then expect something else to happen, but nothing does. Finally, I say, okay, I don't want to reject the block. I just want to understand it. With this, I begin to be pulled into the block. As I enter, my entire being expands like a balloon, being inflated. I lose myself and become the block itself. As this happens, I become consumed with intense anger that is distinctly dark and ancient. I can discern countless other emotions in the anger, all of them aggressively teeming with resentment and defensiveness. I realize now that I'm becoming everything human label bad: fear, judgment, war, violence, self-loathing, rape, poverty, rage, jealousy, and so on. The scale of what I'm embodying is unfathomable. I'm literally experiencing the being of all that we think is bad in all of humanity. Simultaneous to this embodiment, millions of words and concepts are flying at me from within the cosmos, bombarding me with far more information than I can take in. All the bad things are telling me the stories of their evolution at once. And in every single story, every single bad thing in humanity, I can see it is all just pain. Everything, every single thing we label bad is simply a different iteration of pain. And in every single bad thing, I can feel profound sadness. Because long ago, we decided that pain is to be rejected. With this realization, it becomes clear that since rejection is the very thing that gives this fundamental block in humanity strength and protection, as long as we reject what we label bad, we are stuck in a self-perpetuating cycle of pain. We reject the pain born in our belief in separation consciousness, and thereby create more pain of separation consciousness. Because this entire block is in perceived separation from divine love, it has no way to feel loved or comforted by love. So it has to care for itself. It is the very energy of aloneness and loneliness in having to take care of oneself, as well as the resentment for having to do so. All the stories slow down enough now to become like a wave, and I see the original rising up of all that is created from the fear that makes us believe we are separate from divine love. Judgment, inequality, blame, hatred, oppression, anger, and on and on. The list is endless. I see it all through the lens of separation, and also see how all of these things originated in and only exist in perceived separation from divine love. And I realize that this is why I couldn't perceive the light and the block at the same time, because you cannot perceive both from the vantage point of separation consciousness. I feel enormous resentment swirling in the block because none of this is understood. There's nothing taking care of all this bad content. I struggle to assign words to all that's happening. And the very notion that I can't articulate what is here is part of the problem. With bitter anger, I say, oh yeah, everyone likes talking about all the nicey, lovely, lovely stuff. But no one wants to talk about this. No, I have to talk about this. It is clear that this block is not attended to because no one wants to own its contents. And that is the source of much of the sadness and anger I feel. Humanity considers all of these iterations of pain unwanted, negative, and bad things. And in embodying all of this in my human identity, I can feel a remarkably heightened sense of self-loathing, defensiveness, and blame. After a moment, I look out at the block suspended in the cosmos, full of love, and say, I want to dissolve this block with everything that's around it, which is all just love. So why can't I do that? My stomach begins to ache powerfully. Defiance emanates from the bowling ball-like block within me, and within the block, suspended in the cosmos as well. But I can also feel something else that I can't quite identify. Numerous words swirl around until finally one rushes up insistently and hangs before my eyes. Longing. Suddenly, I feel every single thing in this block crying out desperately for union with love. It's as though everything is pleading for me to end this pain of separation. In response, everything that I equate with love within me comes rushing forward to heal this block. Kindness, compassion, concern, empathy, it all moves urgently to the fore, and none of it can touch the block. I can feel my emotions physically pulling towards the block, earnestly wanting to heal it. But nothing I consider aspects of love within me can get anywhere near it. I now watch the entire cosmos cradle the block in divine love. Love swirls in all directions around it. I feel consumed with cosmic-sized compassion and eagerness to heal the block. Still, nothing can penetrate its boundaries. I begin to get very upset. Why not, I say, why not? This block is always surrounded by nothing but love. Why can't love heal the pain of separation from love? Isn't that what we're crying out for? I pause and then say, that's the ultimate question. That's the question I need to answer. As I remain in the moment, staring out at the cosmos, frustrated and confounded, suddenly the light of Source returns and asks, why can't you answer that question, Mary? Startled, I cannot speak. The light repeats, why can't you answer that question, Mary? The light is not concerned with the answer to the question of why love can't heal the pain of separation from love. It wants me to understand why I can't answer that question, and I have no idea. As I'm pondering this question, deeply confused, suddenly all of the atoms and molecules of the cosmos, every speck of the cosmos begins to fill in with light. Divine light rises up everywhere, like curtains of individuated vibrations, and fills in every space. And all of this divine presence is magnificently serious. From within this divine presence, I hear, This is the work of the universe. Before we know, the divine presence begins to project my body as though it is on a movie screen. I watch as they take my body through a series of simple movements. Lying flat on my back, my right knee pulls up and circles clockwise 3 times, then counterclockwise 3 times, and then my left leg does the same. The movement repeats again to make sure I understand. I am being shown that this is my path to dissolving the block. After the body movements, they show me that the dissolution process will be an absorption of the block into all the divine energies that surround it. They use the analogy of soap bubble. When the boundary of the soap bubble is pierced, then poof, the essence of the emptiness the soap bubble contained is absorbed into the divine energies around it. Within me, it feels like piercing the boundary of the bubble with a needle. And then the idea of it disappears on a breeze. The divine presence tells me that the absorption process is their work, but the piercing process is my work. While this all begins for me with the body movements, they tell me that the actual piercing will take place over several days. I take all of this in, then say, okay, I understand. I have homework to do. With this acknowledgement, I feel a tremendous weight echo throughout this cosmos. It is the feel of a necessity, a determination, a firm decision that this is it. There is no other work, I say. The cosmos of divine presence responds. There is this work, and all other work falls away.
Thank you, Inka. That was a beautiful, beautiful reading. Oh my goodness. So the title that came for this particular talk was Accepting, Not Accepting. And, you know, you could name it just about anything. You could call it accepting, rejecting, accepting hatred, accepting anger, accepting jealousy, accepting all those things that I noticed I naturally tend to push away. And part of the ways that I tend to push them away are by using all sorts of spiritual knowledge to help sort of gloss it over. The words that were used in the poem that was read by Susan Telford this morning was a poem by Adyashanti, was, let's see if I can find it. Are you interested in more sooty knowledge? Can you just, I mean, I can literally feel like the clinging of the soot to the skin. Like, yeah, do I want more of that? And so this particular chapter was titled The Work of the Universe. And in the very last part of the chapter, in Mary's vision, she points back to the work of the universe. I noticed that there's just always been this relative sense of a person here. A person sitting in a chair, a person who has to do her spiritual practice, a person who has to fix things, a person, you know, who makes sure that they check into their dailyo every day, that looks at, you know, am I noticing the use of distractions? Am I noticing judgment? Am I noticing? Am I noticing? Am I noticing? All of it being approached with some sense of fixing it. About a year ago, I started really intensively practicing the loving all meditative practice, which is a practice designed by Regina. And within that practice, I first discovered that I can accept resistance. That if resistance is here, accepting resistance doesn't mean saying, okay, I'm okay with it, I'm okay with it. As time evolved, what I started to feel was that accepting resistance became more like just sitting. The absolute wisdom of rest, accept, and trust cannot be underscored more dramatically. The work of the universe is to dissolve all of the blocks. My work, rest. Rest the stories. All the stories. If I want to surrender, how am I surrendering? I am surrendering by not listening to the thoughts of the mind. That is resting. Accepting what is here. Damn it, it's uncomfortable. This honestly doesn't feel good. And everything in me wants to get up and go eat chocolate, wants ice cream, turn on a movie, anything to not feel what's happening right here, right now. But that is what I am being invited to accept. There is a very strong belief here that I can be separated from that which I am. And for me to pretend that that is not being believed would be a flat out lie. What do I notice when I accept? I accept that doubt is here. I accept that sometimes what's true is that there is doubt. There is still this underlying fear that maybe I really am a separate person. That maybe the truth isn't true. And I can't accept what I don't allow myself to see. I can only accept what I am perfectly honest with myself about. When I see the doubt, I'm reminded of the beautiful way that Mary described this. The pain of separation, and the flat out self-hatred for feeling so separate, the flat out desperation that comes in from feeling so separate. Every time I turn away from that and I don't want to feel it and I don't want to accept that it's here, all I'm doing is reinforcing the pain. She pointed out so clearly that when she asked the question, how do I get rid of this? That very question, that very desire to get rid of what is here right now is what pushed away, is what strengthened the block. So can I notice in all of my reactions to things, all of the reactions, I call them but they're not really they are reactions that are happening in this system. This system is biologically programmed to react. A thought comes in, a reaction happens. Nobody wants to feel pain. Let's face it. That's just kind of what happens. We want to reject it. But the more I reject it and believe that it shouldn't be here, the more I'm creating that loop of experience that Regina speaks to so many times. So how honest can I be with myself? What is the story that I'm telling myself in any moment that I feel like I can't accept what's here? even accepting that I am not accepting it. I mean, Angelo DeLullo has been talking about these paradoxes in this chapter 4. And every time I read it, I feel like there's a new, like, clarification. You mean nothing? You mean I'm supposed to just be with everything? Yes, that is what I'm being told. Be with it all. And I get to be with it all even when I notice that I'm not able to be with it all. Like, there's just so much kindness in all of it. There's so much patience. Yesterday was Saturday. Saturday is normally our day off. It's a day that we're supposed to be not working, whatever that's supposed to mean. And my partner informs me that his oldest son is coming over with his girlfriend. And I can feel, oh my God, it's my day off. It's my day that I get to do whatever it is that I want to do. Saturday is my day to sit with my books and bathe in the knowledge and, do whatever it is, meditate, do some more. And I heard surrender. Surrender. They're coming over. And then Dave offers, he says, okay, and I'm going to take us all to dinner. And all I could hear is mine screaming, what do you mean you're going to take us to dinner? We could do so much more with that money than going to dinner. Don't you know this needs to get paid and that needs to get paid and that needs to get paid? And I can even feel like the tension in this body as I speak those words. And what I'm consistently reminded is I'm not accepting for the purpose of trying to get rid of it. That's what Mary Reed, I feel, has so powerfully pointed out in these symbols. When I reject what is here right now, what appears to be the universe's work, because, the universe brought this here right now. And I feel this sense of rejection. Can I be with that and not act from it? Can I observe that that's happening and not act from it? Can I trust? If I'm feeling great doubt in this moment that there is a connection to my divine source, to divine love, can I just bring all of my ability to be with it in all of the ways that it shows itself, without adding fuel to the fire, without trying to create more of a story, but just let it burn. Let it be uncomfortable. It's really only a story in the mind that says I can reject it. When I actually am just here right now with it, I notice that there is something that is not rejecting anything. I mean, if it were being rejected, it wouldn't show up in the first place. It just wouldn't. It's a story. It's a story that I can reject. Trust is my ability to be with what is. Trust is believing that this is the exact experience that was intended. No different. In this body, in this experience, rest the story. Accept what's here, the non-acceptance, the rejection, the doubt, the pain, the fear. Accept it and trust. Because that is the universe's work. It is not mine. That is what the universe is to do. I am just here to experience in it. And that feels complete. So, Shauna, if I could ask you to play our second song, I would appreciate it. Our second song is Hallelujah, which is what it feels like right now, by Brandi Carlile. Diane, feel free to take the mic.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, Rhoda. Hi, everyone. What a beautiful message this morning. I'm in love with this message right now. That's what I've been noticing a lot lately is a lot about the resting. Because the mind wants to go and fix. And that's what's been coming up too, the fixer-upper, So, and when it needs fixing, it means you're rejecting it. So instead of just allowing it to just do its stuff, and I also love let the universe has your back. Because I think when you're in spiritual journey, you're still the doer. So you still think you've got to do it all. So I find that's just allowing everything and the rest except trust is the forgiveness itself and is the accepting of everything. So I'm very grateful for that. I feel a shift within me in just accepting all the notes that are being played here. Because before I wouldn't allow myself to do that. That meant there's something wrong with me, the I am bad beliefs. So now it's all just part of the plan to awaken to my true nature, and that whatever comes up, to embrace it. Even with my mom, with my cats, with my husband, we're all having a dream, and that dream is perceived through what we've learned in the past. So of course, it's and just what I love also is just saying I don't know anything, and that gives room for anything else to just be played out. So I'm grateful for this community, and I love you very much. And thank you.
Thank you, Diane. That was very beautiful. Otherwise, I think we might have enough time to play the final song. What do you think, Shauna? Sure, why not? Grown-ups are not here. We can do what we want, right? Thank you, Shauna. Thank you all for indulging me while we let that go over just for a few minutes there. Shauna, I am going to hand it back to you. Have a lovely day.
Been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.